Good morning. I'm Helen Foss, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you as today's worship associate. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. Welcome to all of you who are here in person in our sanctuary this morning, and welcome to all of you at home who are joining us online. Welcome to you all, no matter the hue of your skin or the origin of your ethnicity. Welcome whomever you love and wherever you are on your spiritual journey. You are welcome here. If you're new to First Unitarian, I invite you to check out our website, firstuuwilm.org, to learn more about us and to sign up for our email newsletter that will come to you every Friday in your inbox. This morning, we are focusing on the holiday season of light, the promise of warmth and love, of connecting with friends and family. And it's the season of holiday miracles. Soon it'll be winter solstice, the official start of winter, the longest day of the year, after which the sun slowly lasts longer every day until spring arrives. All a miracle. Then Christmas, remembering the story of the humble birth in a manger, the miracle of the birth of a child, and our desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. Today, Reverend Larry will have us first visit Hanukkah, the festival of lights commemorating a time of miracles when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to rededicate their holy temple and to keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. These stories weave together, inviting us to consider the miracles we find or create in this space, the love we give to others, the way we hold each other's joys and sorrows, and the generosity we carry out into our community. There are miracles here too. Now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
My part. So good morning. I'm the Reverend Larry Piers, minister here at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington. And I want to share these opening words with you in a moment. But I also want to say it's great to see you here. If someone is visiting for the first time, I'd love to meet you following the service in the parish hall. It's a day packed with activities that Helen's going to tell you about. And so let's begin our worship with this call to worship by Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook. Every person must know and understand that a candle burns deep within them. And their candle is unlike their friends, and no person without a candle exists, and every person must know and understand that they must strive to uncover the light of the candle publicly and light it into a great torch and light the whole world. Let's join together in our worship.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light it as the Converse children, Matt, Katie, and Charlie? Yep. Converse are going to be lighting our chalice here. As I read these words by UU Reverend D.C. Fortune, we light this chalice as a symbol of our free faith. We light this chalice to remember the miracle of the oil that burned for 8 days. We light this chalice to mark the nights of midwinter. We light this chalice as we wait for the sun to return. Thank you.
We're lighting candles all over the place today. Just bear with me. So I'm going to invite Linda and Michael to come up and light our menorah, which traditionally is not done during the day. It's done during the evening time. But for the sake of our joining in this celebration with our Jewish siblings, we light this menorah, and we'll go from here to there. Use that light. Okay, great. So Rabbi Yael Levy states that Hanukkah encourages us to search for and lift up light, even when so much lies in ruin. Hanukkah calls us to cultivate active hope, the willingness to act in times of great turmoil and nourished by each other's devotion and care. Thank you, Michael. See, I told you, that's only the beginning of our lighting of candles today. Hanukkah calls us to remember that just because we cannot see how healing could come to our tumultuous and frightened world, this does not mean that it won't happen. Hanukkah calls us beyond what we think we know to a place where the miraculous is possible. Helen. Oh, now let's sing together our opening hymn, Let Your Little Light Shine.
By morning sun or the evening star, there might
Our unison affirmation, please. Join me. Is my mic on? All right. All right, our unison affirmation now, please. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, transforms the world through loving action. Thank you. I know our order of service now says we will be having a child dedication, but life happens, and both mother and child are ill. So we are not having that today. And instead, we are going to sing the children out to their classes and continue with our service. And hopefully, they will be rescheduling. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So let's prepare our hearts, our bodies, and our minds for a time of prayer and meditation. And Ruth, this is the time where you'll come up and light the two candles, the two Advent candles. I didn't have a chance to connect again with you this morning. We talked about it last Sunday. So you'll see the candle there. We're just like doing candles, candles, candles throughout the whole service. See the small candle there? Use that one to light two candles in the Advent wreath. Just two candles in the Advent wreath. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Ruth. So we light candles during this time of year, not just to allow ourselves to feel the light in the midst of the darker days, but also to embrace the darkness and to see that darkness and light are like a dance of our own soul. So I want to read these words as our meditation from Philip Porter. When darkness nears and embers die, the wind in trees a distant sigh, the end of day like a lover's voice nearby. The night draws close, a fond embrace. The heart then slows its frantic pace, and fear drifts off as a calm breath takes its place. The cradle of a velvet wing, it holds us in its gentle swing, and peace slips in within the songs our dreams will sing. The end of day, the passing year, the rush of time need cause no fear. We'll love the night and its mystery, now so near. So let's take a moment to embrace both darkness and light, and to recognize within our own life both have a place to play in the nurturing and the cultivating of our soul. So in the silence, let us embrace both dark and light. The dark has its wisdom to offer us. We can find meaning in the dark. We can find within the dark the incubation of courage and hope. So may it be. Amen. So we take this time each Sunday to attend to whatever it is that we're holding in our individual hearts and our collective hearts. What are some of the concerns that you might have for yourself, for a loved one, or for our world? In a moment, I'll ask you, if you care to speak those aloud or to write them in the chat. And we'll also take a moment to name those joys that might be also things that we bring to this day. So what concerns are you holding in your own heart that you want to speak into this room so that you need not hold them alone, but you can feel the loving and caring embrace of others? Sudden death of your cousin, okay.
Moral injury for veterans and Ukrainian funding.
Okay.
Loneliness during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide of Gary, please, and prayers for his family have been requested.
Okay.
Or
Mental health of our teenagers. My friend Pat McElney.
Israeli women in captivity and Ukrainian children displaced.
Healing for Beverly Baxter.
So for a moment, let's feel the weight of these concerns in our collective heart and hold them alongside of one another. Are there also some joys that are sparkling in your life, that are brightening at least a piece of your heart today that you'd like to name in this room?
A finished kitchen renovation.
Shared music.
My son has a job. Made up Thanksgiving yesterday.
Okay.
The children's choir.
Amen.
So as a community, we hold both sorrows and joys together. May all whose names were spoken and those unspoken find peace and healing this day.
at the moment of utter darkness at the temple, when it would have been rational to wait for oil, more oil, to be pressed and consecrated, the Jews ignored all reasonable reasons and lit the little oil that they had. The real conflict is between apathy and hope, between a blind surrendering to darkness and acting to light up new pathways. Seen in this way, Hanukkah can become a resource to help us experience our moments of darkness whenever they occur throughout the year and strike new sparks.
Thank you, Helen. I'm looking around to see if there are any more candles that need to be lit. I think we're covered for a while. So last Sunday, I began our December series of drawing upon the various sources of our living tradition as Unitarian Universalists as we reflect on the various holiday traditions that occur during this month. I reflected upon the natural and fundamental experience of awe and practicing aerobics. We connected with the Unitarian Universalist source that we articulate as direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. On Monday of last week, I had the wondrous opportunity to meet with some of our members at the continuing care community at Marist Grove during their monthly Soul Matters group. And since the theme of their discussion was the gift of mystery, meeting with them was like an extended conversation on the sermon topic of awe. In the conversations, group members offered their own reflections and direct experiences of awe and mystery. Nancy, I'm remembering that one person told me to give her a special wave because she was going to get on to YouTube, our YouTube channel today, and watch the service. So excuse me for a moment. That's our secret message to one another. And I actually invited every one of you last Sunday to take time during this past week to remember our own experiences of awe, perhaps using the definition that came from the scientific research of Keltner, the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. These experiences, as you know, can occur in the most mundane or the most sublime of circumstances. These experiences can be so ordinary as to miss detection, or can, even in their momentariness, linger for a lifetime. There is a phenomenon that I've noticed among the sophisticated and the savvy, present company included, where we can sometimes repress the sublime. We might be tempted to think that regarding the sublime, awe, or the transcendent within life, we're above all of that, right? After all, we're so realistic, we're so pragmatic, so practical. We are so concerned about making a difference in this world right now that we don't want to trouble our little minds with such lofty aspirations or experiences such as awe. I remind you that in Kelter's research, that one of the most common experiences of awe arose when people experienced other human beings doing extraordinary things, doing acts of kindness and courage in the face of adversity. Some of our own heroes in social justice were fueled just as much by a direct experience of the transcendent as they were by their own passion for justice. They're not necessarily separate categories. They may be very much interrelated. It behooves us to recognize how our own assumed savviness and sophistication about transcendent experiences may not serve to give us the strength that we actually need to sustain ourselves beyond the first disappointment in our work toward social justice. We repress the sublime at our own peril. The psychologist Abraham Maslow was one who ventured to study these actual experiences and impulses within us with the same discipline and intention that previous people in his field focused on the repression of instincts and more basic desires. Maslow, in his study called The Higher Reaches of Human Nature, recognized what he called a Jonah complex. I know I have a lot of biblical scholars in the room, but let me just help you recall that the biblical character Jonah was asked to take on a mission to Nineveh that he'd rather not take on. He doesn't feel like he's up to accomplishing such great things, so he attempts to flee. Even while attempting to escape the higher calling, as the story goes, a fish swallows him up. And after 3 days, he's deposited on the shores of Nineveh, despite himself. No matter what you think about this particular fish story, I think that Maslow has something to offer us in his analysis. Maslow claims that we fear our highest possibilities as well as our lowest ones. We are generally afraid to become that which we can glimpse in our most perfect moments, under the most perfect conditions, under conditions of greatest courage. We enjoy and even thrill to the godlike possibilities we see in ourselves in such peak moments, and yet, we simultaneously shiver with weakness, awe, and fear before these same possibilities. Not only are we ambivalent about our highest possibilities, we are also in a perpetual and I think universal, perhaps even necessary conflict, he writes, and ambivalence over these same highest possibilities in other people and human nature in general. One of the persons in that group at Marist Grove shared last week her own experience of a time years ago when she shared for her what was a direct experience of awe with a group of Unitarians, as she says, and how she felt dismissed or shut down at that time. You can imagine it sometimes as well, and my heart breaks when I hear or observe such experiences among us. I understand where it comes from, especially among those of us who may have escaped the grips of a previous religious affiliation that in retrospect you may have felt compromised your intellect, your integrity, or your authenticity, or your hard-nosed approach to reality. But when we succumb as well to the repression of the sublime, we are not only limiting ourselves, but we're also limiting our understanding of humanity. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Encourage me a little bit. Yes. All right. There is a reason that our tradition includes this source of direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder. It is true to our religious history and our heritage as Unitarian Universalists. It's true to many cultures and religious traditions, and it's true to many of our own individual experiences. I personally feel that our repression of the sublime supremely limits our capacity to encounter and directly engage with the real, astounding challenges that we face in our time. We may succumb to skepticism instead. If you have a poor diet that includes chewing on some of the recent opinion pieces in the news, you could easily be feeling a touch of inevitability and fatalism today. You know what I'm talking about? Some of us want to imagine that a candidate that says he will be a dictator for a day is a joke done only for attention seeking. Others of us may feel this candidate is dead serious. We may succumb in the face of that kind of conversation. We may succumb to cynicism. What matters is that we stay alert. What did I say matters? Okay, good. To stay alert to the dynamic that underlies us all, and that dynamic is this tendency to create chaos. We need to recognize that this chaos that is being perpetuated is actually a tactic. As Reverend Otis Moss III writes, chaos breeds cynicism and despair. It pushes us towards withdrawal and inaction. And for this reason, those who perpetuate injustice use chaos as their weapon. Their only remaining tactic for advancing their agenda of injustice is to enforce silence. They conjured the demon chaos, trying to use its power to provoke the other side to despair and to give up their struggle. We need to stay alert to the narratives of cynicism, fatalism, and inevitability and despair that can easily become viral if we're not alert to this tactic. In times of despair, we may be tempted to call it in rather than to call forth all the hope, courage, resistance, and resilience that we can in the upcoming months. When it seems to us that it is all inevitable, rather than kick back, we need to do some high kicks. This is the moment where I would have demonstrated, but I'm going to demonstrate my ability to stay very serious. But this is where Hanukkah comes in. For the story invites us to consider that even in the most despairing of times, even when we feel we are not enough, even when the darkness is threatening to overcome us, we might discover that there is just enough hope for us to kindle among ourselves, to get us through and to help us move toward our highest possibilities and the highest possibilities of our society and our humanity. Even at this time, we can discover that we can extend what little hope we have in order to illumine the path before us. It may seem like a naive message, given the times that we are in, especially since the current situation can feel to some so hopeless, so devoid of light or promise. And as I ponder this story of Hanukkah this year, I'm finding myself asking some different questions. The story reminds me that before there was the seemingly miraculous unfolding of the light beyond what was expected, that first there was darkness. That long before there was even an inclination to take the step to rededicate the temple with what little oil was available, there was oppression, there was misery, there was despair. Dark and light are not inseparable. Rabbi Lawrence Hoffman, in the book The Journey Home, Discovering Deep Spiritual Wisdom of the Jewish Tradition, explores the relationship between dark and light, up and down, and he writes, whether purely arbitrary or rooted in human evolution, human experience at its most promising presupposes standing tall, enjoying the clarity that comes from being bathed in light and surveying the pattern all around us. On a clear day, we say, you can see forever. And when we do, we feel up or on a high. And he continues, by contrast, when we're depressed, we feel low, unable to rise to the occasion and to see beyond the present moment. He continues, Robert Frost writes chillingly, I have been one acquainted with the night. Night is also Elie Wiesel's haunting title for his chronicle of Auschwitz. Night, then, is both darkness and down. It is what we fear most. But I think there are ways for us to break beyond and move beyond that particular cultural narrative about darkness and to appreciate and to understand the interplay of light and dark. We all have our own relationships with dark or darkness. Much of it we've imbibed from this particular culture in the way that Rabbi Hoffman describes. If we did a personal archaeology of our relationship to darkness, darkness may represent any number of things to us, not just one thing. Darkness may, for some of us, represent emotions and associations as fear, as Hoffman says, as the unknown, as where monsters dwell, and unsafe, as negative for a number of reasons. Darkness is often considered something to be avoided rather than to be embraced. And today, I want to encourage us to recognize that narrative and to recognize how darkness and light can both be embraced together in their interrelationship with one another. I've come to accept that our spirituality emerges within our personal lives in a process that is more complex than an on and off, dark and light kind of phenomena. In fact, we are often at any point in time in some dance between light and dark. The popular writer and theologian Barbara Brown Taylor makes a useful distinction between what she calls a solar spirituality and a lunar spirituality. In her full solar spirituality, she states, I have to bring my happiest face to my neighbor, to church, and expect only good things will happen. These expectations to be always hopeful, never complaining, always sunny, and to put a silver lining on every difficulty, she says, wore me out. She asks, what if the moon is a better image for the spiritual life than the sun? It's different every night. It's a better match for the interior life compared to the big golden disk that looks the same every day. We do go through different phases in our personal and spiritual life. It's not all, as the line in a song goes, a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Perhaps we can make room this Hanukkah and this holiday season for embracing the dark and the light together. From Barbara Brown Taylor's lunar spirituality perspective, we can each ask ourselves during this time, which moon phase speaks to us at any particular moment? Does it seem that you're experiencing the darkness of a new moon? That light is scarce and there are only specks of light shining in your darkness? Does it seem that you're in the moment of the waxing of the moon, a crescent phase when something is emerging and some opportunities for growth or change are coming into view? Does it seem like you are in a full moon phase when light is abundant? What in your world is beginning to shimmer quietly with possibility? Or does it seem that you are in a waning moon phase when the moon is returning to the sun and darkness is growing? It could feel like a kind of restlessness, a time of unknowing. Which phase of the moon speaks more directly to your life right now? How might this lunar view allow you to see your life more fully, rather than as an on or off, up or down, dark or light kind of view that's so limiting to our real experience? In what ways may the dark be an opportunity for new insight, new knowledge, and new growth? I would suggest a practice for you to go out and look at the moon now and then and ask, whatever is happening in that phase of the moon right now, reflect whether it's full or waxing or waning or new. Ask, what is full in my own life? What is waxing or waning in my own life? What is new in my own life? How does the moon reflect in my life these aspects of full, waxing, waning, and new? So rather than avoid the darkness through retreat, withdrawal, cynicism, or despair, I think we can come to recognize that darkness can have a purpose where work is actually done, where new insights can occur to us, where courage can be incubated and then drawn upon in ways beyond our imagination. Indeed, we can even dance in the darkness. And this reminder is embedded, I feel, in the Hanukkah story. The story reminds us that the light didn't arrive all at once. It arose in phases, and it arose from darkness. The story reminds us that what is required is stepping up again and again, against all odds, to light the candles in the modern-day menorah and to utilize what light is available to us in that moment. Hanukkah reminds us that the light didn't arrive all at once, and instead it required stepping up again and again against all odds. The story reminds us to find ways to rededicate ourselves to what matters in spite of the circumstances, no matter how much energy or light is available to us. After all, long before the acts of embracing both dark and light, available light, rededication is first of all an inner experience. Even when their temple remained in ruins, the people gathered to determine how they might rededicate the temple. In the rubble, they found a tiny drop of oil, and not knowing if this tiny drop of oil would be enough, not knowing if their actions could make any noticeable difference, the people lit the oil, and it burned brighter and longer than anyone thought possible. So Hanukkah reminds us that we need to participate. We need to participate in our own rededication to what really matters to us, what really matters to our society and to our cultures at this time. So take a moment right now to think about your own rededication. What do any one of us feel we need to rededicate ourselves to right now? Let's take a moment to think about that. What rededication do you want to make right now? Imagine each of ourselves in the room is rededicating ourselves to something that matters to us, to our world. What is that rededication that you would make? If you need a starter sentence, it's I rededicate myself to. Think about what you might complete that sentence with. Have you thought of something? Anyone? Okay. The fight. Anyone else? The fight for democracy. I did put you on the spot, but you have a whole week to hand your assignment in. So I'll be curious to hear what you come up with. It's important to ask ourselves the question now and then. Years ago, there was a popular bumper sticker. You might remember it. It said, well, it didn't quite say this, but this is the way I could say it here. Stuff happens. Do you know what that bumper, you remember that? Who remembers that? Okay, yeah. So many ways to understand that message. I attended a training in Boston with, at that time, that was called the Public Conversations Project, and we were learning tools and processes and how to have difficult conversations across differences. This was in the 1990s, the halcyon days of having difficult conversations. It's gotten a little harder these days, given our current polarized and divided atmosphere. On the first day of that training, the facilitators handed us a button that we could choose to wear, that could capture some of the hope that they wanted to instill in us at the beginning of the training. A training in which we could anticipate there would be some rough patches, some tensions, some conflicts, some difficult conversations. After all, we had been warned by the title. The button simply said, "Shifts happen." I had to really enunciate carefully. I practiced that many times. Say it after me, shifts happen. That's the message I'd like to embrace and underline this Hanukkah. Sure, the message on the original bumper sticker still applies, and yet I want to insert this message in our hearts, in our souls, in our activities at this moment in time and history. Shifts do happen. Amen.
Years ago, it was a long time, my husband Robert and I stood next to a Christmas tree right down here for our daughter Lauren's child dedication ceremony. Barbara Kroll, you were there as well with your son. Lauren was about 4 months old, and I have a vivid memory of our daughter, of holding her, and she was wearing this little red velvet jumper that was over a little white blouse trimmed with soft lace. The words and the promises that we heard that morning were essentially, and experienced that morning, were essentially what we might have heard this morning had we had the child dedication ceremony. But I've been thinking about that, and it just seemed appropriate to share this with you this morning. We had found First Unitarian and Unitarianism just 3 years before that morning, and we were eager to embark on the journey of raising our children in this community, a place where we found shared values, a place that challenged our thinking and motivated us to go out and act on those beliefs. For today's stewardship moment, I'm reflecting on our appreciation for what First Unitarian has meant to our family. Our David and Lauren grew up in this church, thrived in their Sunday school experience with Mimi as Lauren's classmate, and fully embraced their high school youth group involvement. We have many First U adult volunteers to thank for that. Today, our 2 children are members of their respective UU congregations in Princeton, New Jersey, and Fairfax, Virginia. And now I invite you to reflect on what First U has meant to you, those of you who are members here. And these 50 plus years of our membership have certainly challenged our thinking, prompted our action. But perhaps you are new to First Unitarian and perhaps just searching for a place that will match your beliefs and your values or challenge them. We welcome you to an ongoing search for ever greater meaning. And we welcome you this morning after the service to join us in the parish hall for the youth group bake sale, and stay until noon when there will be a report from the Long Range Planning Committee. So lots of welcomes. Now, we invite you to consider this giving time of time, talent, and treasure to our church home. For the moment, we're focusing on the treasure, the giving of our financial resources to support our staff and keep the lights and the heat on. During the offertory, a screen will come up to tell you the 4 ways you can give. Here in the sanctuary, there are white wicker baskets. Are they still white? Yes, they are. In the back for you to put in cash or checks, and they all will be gratefully received. Now, please join me in our offertory dedication. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings. If you have lit a chalice at home, I invite you to extinguish it as I read these words by Yu Minister Reverend Vanessa Tatang, flame in our hearts. Like the flame of the chalice, may the flame in our hearts burn, remaining unextinguished. May it ignite our energies, our drive, our resolve to build, to dream, and to live into the world that good which exists for now only in our imaginings.
Our benediction: learn to light a candle in the darkest moment of someone's life. Be the light that helps others to see. It is what gives life its deepest significance. We'll now sing our closing hymn, number 189, Light of Ages and of Nations. Please stand as you're willing and able.
Inspiration, glimpses of thy truths above.
Thank you.